Welcome back to the preview show. I'm Casey. Next to me on my left, yeah, you know him. Jonathan from the Racing Experts, and you know that guy on the bottom too. Yeah, you know him. He was on here last week. That's Nathan Solomon from the newly improved Podium Finish and the co-host of TCF Live. NASCAR's new dynamic duo, Rob Tiongson and Nathan Solomon. So, how's it going?
It's going.
Good. Mm-hmm.
Well,
it's going good.
All right. Well, we're coming off a big weekend at Auto Club. First test for this next-gen car. We'll go to the person that was actually there. That's Jonathan. How was it out there? Just to experience it all. What did you first off notice about this new car? And, of course, talk about a little bit about the Xfinity race, too.
Well, first of all, I have to say the weather was absolutely beautiful. We've seen bad track record for the second race of the year when it's been out at Auto Club Speedway, of course, from 2005 to 2010. And so it was really nice just to have nice weather. And then on top of it, we had some great racing. We saw that battle at the very end, especially between Daniel Suarez and Austin Dillon and Kyle Larson. But even before that, with Joey Logano, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott battling it out, the intensity was there. Drivers were having to really manhandle the cars. Joey Logano even described it in one word: sketch is how he described the way the car is handled. So it was a lot of fun. Really good racing, sliding, still some of the bugs with the next gen car that we need to get fixed. But the racing was great. The Xfinity Series, Cole Custer, of course, dominated. Some good racing there. Great to see Trevor Bayne running up front. Anthony Alfredo almost snagged a win. And, some different movers and shakers we didn't expect either.
Yeah. And Bobby Dodder got his first Xfinity Series win as a car owner. That was good to see. Got a chance to talk to Bobby this week. Also, our good friend Marty Zakala got a chance to talk to Bobby as well. He is really, really excited about this so far. All right, Nathan, you watched the race as well. What did you experience? What are your thoughts from this?
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised from what I saw on Sunday at Fontana. Unfortunately, I wasn't really able to catch much of the Xfinity race, but the racing on Sunday kind of blew me away. After so many years of terrible racing at that track with the Gen 5 and the Gen 6 car, I don't think anyone could have really expected the car to race so well on Sunday. I think some of it, of course, just because the competitive balance is kind of shrunk. There's so many good cars, and just with this new car, so many teams are able to be competitive with it. And we had a bunch of different leaders. Tyler Reddick led for most of the race, but we had a record number of lead changes still. So very entertaining racing. Hopefully it carries over to this weekend in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Also, one more thing, Jonathan and I did not call each other, and we just decided to, it's weird something. So yeah, it's good.
On top of it too, Nathan is also sitting on a maroon chair as well. So very coordinated.
I don't know. It's weird how these things work. But anyway, let's talk about this parity thing. We see most of the field up there, like Tyler Reddick, Eric Jones from Petty GMS. Boy, was it good seeing that 43 car leading out there. But do you think this continues throughout the next few weeks? I'm not sure if it will, because here's the thing. The teams, how this usually works is the teams with the most resources find ways to do that. But I think this is going to be the toughest way to do it out of all this.
Yeah, I think this season, especially over last season, we're going to see more of that parity lasting further into the season, because last season we saw, Michael McDowell, Chris Buescher kind of break the Hendrick Penske JGR stranglehold on the front of the field. That they did it pretty early on, but then it kind of fizzled off pretty quickly after, I would say, about the drop of the checker flag at Homestead, which was literally the third race of the year. So I think that we're going to see more of it, just with how much is new on this new car, and just with the parts being, I don't want to use the word spec, but supplied to all the teams. Everybody's on the same page with the parts and pieces. Whereas last year, of course, we had the parts freeze from 2020 to 2021, but different teams had different parts that gave them an edge. think we're going to see more of that. It's exciting to see guys like Eric Jones and Tyler Reddick run up front, especially Richard Petty Motorsports, now as Petty GMS. Having a backer, that's a true dedicated race team. I think we're going to see more of that parity last.
What do you think, Nathan? Because out of all this, are we going to see more of the teams up in the front like you're not used to seeing, like Eric Jones and Tyler Reddick?
Yeah, I think for a while you see a little bit more parity. I mean, as we kind of maybe progress into the summer months, I think some of that parity is going to go away because kind of just what Jonathan was saying, the best teams like Hendrick and Joe Gibbs Racing, I mean, they have the most resources, they have the best engineers. They're more likely going to find bigger gains on the car and be able to kind of give them a competitive balance or a competitive edge compared to some of these other teams. So, I mean, when you look at a team like Petty GMS or JTG Doherty, I mean, this earlier part of the season, I mean, the time where they really have to shine if they want to make it into the playoffs, they have to have some stronger runs now because, like I said, I think later in the year you will see, the top teams kind of rise to the top once again. But at least for these first few months, especially when we're on these, I guess, traditional ovals, I think you will see a lot of parity. I'm not sure if that's necessarily going to carry over when we go to a place like Coda in a few weeks, or even Atlanta, since there's just so many unknowns there. But just on these very traditional, tracks like Las Vegas this weekend, Phoenix next weekend, Richmond, I think you could see a lot of different guys running towards the front.
To that point about Coda, I think we could see it even carry over there. That'll be a real telltale race because this car is intended on being very good on road courses, made for the road course races. So that'll be interesting. I think we might see the top teams rise up just because this car is made for those types of tracks, but it'll also be interesting to see the driver input because, previous cars, we've seen a lot of driver input with how they race there. But now with a car that's more geared toward that type of racing, kind of like the Gen 6 and the Gen 5 has been for intermediates, be interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely for sure, because we have all these road courses out there. We have not seen this car race on a road course yet. We'll do so when we get to probably one of the most well-known courses, the one that Formula One is going to later this year.
Your favorite one?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Not a Coda fan?
It's
we'll bypass it.
It was a tough first race last year.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
Bring that up. But anyway, all in good fun here on the preview show.
All in good fun.
Yep. So let's talk about Vegas this week. There's been some procedural changes this week because something that I've talked to you about and we've talked about in our group chat is that maybe more practice time is needed. Well, NASCAR is giving at least the Cup teams more of that. It's going from, I think, a 20-minute session to a 35-minute session. They're taking away those the groups are gone for practice, but they'll be back for qualifying, but they're going to be there for qualifying. But it's just a 35. All the cars will be on the track. I'm still there. But personally, I think this is going to lead to more practice time because we're going to get our first kind of more extended weekend when we get to Atlanta in a few weeks with that new configuration. And that, I think, as you pointed out, Jonathan, that's something that maybe needs to be done going forward.
Yeah, because, they could have really used it last week at Auto Club. And obviously we saw a pretty good race out of it, even with the short amount of practice time. But just to be able to work out some bugs and kinks with this car, I think the 50-minute practice time is important. Also, too, to give the fans somewhat of an experience, because being at the track, I mean, the 2 50-minute sessions, they work, they're fine, but to give the fans a little bit more, to get to see their favorite drivers one by one going out on the racetrack. Of course, you get that in qualifying. And then to give the teams and drivers just more time to work with this car. It's good, but in the back of my head too, I'm also thinking as a fan, it's like more time with the cars means they know how to fine tune it more, which means they're going to find advantages quicker and the gap is going to widen. So it's good, but also part of me is just thinking, let's limit this, let's make the teams really work for it, figure out on the race, throw them to the wolves, they're professionals, they can do it, but 50 minutes of practice time, I think, is a good thing for them.
All right. What do you think, Nathan?
Yeah, I think the increased practice will be helpful. I mean, right now, it went from those 2 15-minute sessions to now 35 at Las Vegas this weekend. But it's kind of interesting right now. That's the only track that has that kind of 35-minute practice listed right now. It doesn't look like there will be that 35-minute session at Phoenix yet, but that could still change. I hope that they kind of keep those 35-minute sessions, just kind of to Jonathan's point, just more time to fine tune the cars. More time to collect data, especially as they go on later in the season. I mean, right now they're at a lot of these tracks earlier on where they've already been able to test that. Like, if I'm not mistaken, I think they had some sort of test at Las Vegas before. Obviously, they tested at Phoenix recently. They've tested at Atlanta, but afterwards, you start to go to a lot of tracks where you have not the new car's just not been on yet. So you're going to need time to kind of collect data and analyze that. Obviously, it's kind of limited what you can do in practice right now. You can't take like giant swings at it, but having this extended practice time should kind of be able to allow cars to kind of be able to gauge what you have both in the short run and the long run. I think that's one of the things that a lot of the drivers were kind of saying. I mean, with those 15-minute sessions, they really didn't have time to see if you have a short run car or a long run car. Now they have time to really do. They can really kind of break up that practice session into two still and try a short run and a long run or do a qualifying trim or whatever they really need to do. So I think it'll be helpful overall. I hope they keep it. Obviously, it'll be a little bit difficult in these next few weeks to kind of extend it with kind of what they have with the TV time slots. But I think it'll be really helpful. Obviously, you risk wrecking the cars more, and there's the part shortage right now. And I mean, you saw a lot of cars, wreck or spin out on a Saturday when they got on the track. But I mean, that's some of that's a product of them just never being there before with the car. But that's just one of the risks with having more practice time.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, there's going to be a lot of it this weekend. We have all three series there this weekend for Las Vegas with Cup, Xfinity, and Trucks. The Trucks and Xfinity will qualify and practice tomorrow. Tomorrow. And then the Cup cars will qualify and practice on Saturday. All right, it's that time of the show. Hey, do you know what time it is, Jonathan? What time of the show it is?
Is it time to pick already?
Well, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it is time to pick, but yeah, it is time for the picks. Well, I mean, kind of. Before we get to those picks, a couple notes from Xfinity. Junior Motorsports, first time they finished, all 4 cars finished in the top 10. First time that's happened since the first Darlington race last year. So good stuff from them. And by the way, remember the last time the Trucks went to Las Vegas? Thor Sport Racing went 1, 2, 3, 4. First time that's ever, I believe that's the first time any organization has ever done that in the Truck Series. So that's a big accomplishment by them, and they want to do that. Also, it will be Matt Crafton's 500th start this week. I'm sure we all love Matt Crafton. I've interviewed him several times. It's he loves the Truck Series. I'll say that. Just interactions with him over the years have just been, everyone has been absolutely awesome. So yeah. Good to see there. And also, Johnny Saunders, first truck race that Johnny Sauter will miss since, I think, 2008. You said that, Jonathan?
It has been since the 2000, minus when he got suspended for the 2019 Iowa race. It's been since the 2008 home finale where Johnny Sauter was not entered into a truck race. So a long, long time.
Yeah. And by the way, 6 drivers finished in the top 10 in both races so far in the Xfinity Series. Ty Gibbs is not one of those 6. In fact, he had a top 10 finish yet this year. And out of those 6 drivers, which is Noah Gragson, Ryan Sieg, Anthony Alfredo, Justin Allgaier, I'm forgetting the other 2. Oh man, AJ Allmendinger is 1, and then I believe not Josh Berry. Goodness gracious, why can't I think of this?
I'd say, out of all those names, Anthony Alfredo is probably the most impressive, just given, and Ryan Sieg as well.
Ryan Sieg, and only one of those 6 drivers finished in the top 5 in both of those races. That's Noah Gragson. So.
And Riley Herbst was the other driver who finished top 10.
Riley Herbst is in the top 10 in the last 4 races in Xfinity. Do you know that?
It's pretty good. The car that you get confused with Ty Gibbs' car, he's taking the spot up there, if you will.
It's yeah. It's I mean I don't know how Tim Feudwa does it, or Tony Hirschman, Ty Gibbs' spotter. So I don't know how they do it, but yeah. How about this? The Onion is back in the Truck Series. Todd Bodine. How about that?
That's something.
Exciting.
That is
Don't know what to
something.
expect.
Nathan?
Don't know what to expect.
I do. Well, he's going to qualify first, so
He is, so we'll see.
You got a chance to talk to the Onion this week. Obviously, one of the best for sure to do that.
Hard not to root for him. He's he grew up not far from me, so definitely be rooting for him to do well this weekend.
Of course, got to represent New York. Okay, so that's where we'll start with the picks. Remember, 37 trucks are entered. 1 will go home. So, all right, who you got, Nathan?
I am going to go with Mr. Kyle Busch here in the Truck Series race on Friday. Rowdy's making his first Truck Series start of the season. He's expected to probably make 5. All 5, of course, will come before the regular season finale at Pocono in July. We don't really know what his schedule kind of looks like after Friday, but I'm going to go with Kyle Busch to start off his Truck Series season with a victory.
I think I kind of saw it. I believe his next truck race will be Coda. So, yeah. All right. I'll go next. So, this is somebody. You know what? I'll just. I know everyone picked KBM driver. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take a Thor Sport driver. I'll take Christian Eckes this week. Really impressed with what the Thor Sport trucks have been doing this week. Do not count them out because they finished 1, 2, 3, 4 the last time we went to Las Vegas. And I think Christian Eckes is kind of getting up there and turning in, and possibly if he can have a good run this weekend, he might be a championship contender at Thor Sport because a lot of people, everyone thinks it's been those KBM trucks that are kind of doing it, but it's Thor Sport that's, I think, going to be the team to watch, along with Zane Smith. That 30 team is going to be pretty stout.
And to add on, Christian Eckes got his first win last time they were at the track. That was a good win for him for Thor Sport there. But how else can I disagree with you guys but the wild card, the ace in the hole, the ace to the 10 of John Hunter Nemechek. I mean, very strong last season, arguably should have won the championship, very strong at Las Vegas last year. I think John Hunter Nemechek's going to get it done.
Defending winner of this truck race. So good stuff there. Yeah, it's gonna be very, very interesting to see there. I got to see more out of these Toyotas. I know they're strong in numbers in the Truck Series, and they have to perform well. All right, let's go on to another series called the Xfinity Series. Jonathan, kick us off for this one.
All right, so we've seen the JRM cars do really well. We've seen AJ Allmendinger run pretty well. I think we're going to see more of the favorites run up front and do well at Las Vegas per usual. I'm just saying a bunch of filler words right now. Why don't I just give you my pick? The hometown boy, Noah Gragson.
Yeah, that's he's a pretty good one, as I said. Only driver to finish in the top 5 this season. Here's the thing. We go into Las Vegas. Las Vegas is known for one thing and one thing only. You got to kind of roll the dice a little bit. And that's what I'm going to do with this pick. It's like a way far out there pick, but you're not been surprised like when you do this. But when I say this, you'll be like, oh, God, he's going with him again. I'm going to go with Sam Mayer this week.
Ooh.
Because here's the thing. Sam got a good top. He finished 6th at Auto Club. Been really turning around that car. Maybe he took a trip to Taylor Moyer's farm to do just that. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with the one car the car that won the last time the Xfinity Series was at Las Vegas. And Sam Mayer will redeem himself at Las Vegas after he kind of got wadded up in that big one. And he was not part of the JRM 1, 2, 3. He was in the garage. So Sam Mayer redeems himself in Las Vegas. Okay, Nathan, who you got?
And I'm not really switching it up too much, unfortunately, from your two picks. But I am gonna actually stay in the JRM camp. I'm gonna go with Justin Allgaier. So I think he's kind of one of those guys that you kind of don't think of every week, but like he wins 2 or 3 races every year. Obviously, is always a contender for the championship, but I feel like he's not a guy that a lot of people always pick to win races every week, and he always runs up front. He seems to always get kind of an early win every season. So I'm gonna go with Justin Allgaier to punch his ticket into the playoffs early here at Las Vegas.
Now, the thing about this is, guys, we left the most recent Las Vegas winner on the table out of the whole stable, Josh Berry. That's a heck of an omission. Whew.
Yeah, it's I was actually going to go with Josh Berry, but I just had to go out on a limb there a little bit, but who knows? Well, who knows what could happen? But anyway, that team, man, Josh did win the last race. We were at Las Vegas, but that was in the 1 car. He's in the 8 car now, so who knows? That's what we'll go with. But yeah, of course, of course, those Chevrolets are always going to be strong. I need to see more out of. So the one thing I want to see out of this Xfinity Series, I need to see a little bit more out of those Toyotas. They got to really come out and perform. We saw the 18, but I need to see more out of the 19 and the 54 as well. I think we're kind of maybe due for a Ty Gibbs win, but who knows? But anyway, I know I'm not changing my pick. Also, let's pick Cup. This is so wide open. Who knows what's going to happen in the Pennzoil 400? By the way, Marcus Allen will be the Grand Marshal for the, of course, the rate of the Raiders. Of course, he was the LA Raiders. Of course, now the Vegas Raiders. Why don't you go first, Nathan?
Again, I'm not really switching it up a whole heck of a lot from other picks, but I'm going to stay with my Truck Series pick, Kyle Busch. It kind of seems like Kyle Busch when he gets a win in the Xfinity Series or the Truck Series, he always does a pretty good job of trying to match it in the Cup Series. So hometown race for Kyle. I think he goes 2 for 2 this weekend, wins Truck Series, wins Cup Series, gets into the playoffs early.
Jonathan?
I think there's 2 drivers who have been really solid at this track ever since about 2017 or so. Martin Truex Jr., Joey Logano. Martin Truex Jr. won, of course, in 17 and 19. Logano won in 19 and 20 in this particular race. But I think you have to go with a guy who showed some strong performance last week and had a really good run last time we were at Las Vegas before kind of slipped back, had some issues. Eric Jones. I think Eric Jones is going to get done this week.
Ooh, someone's rolling the dice this week. I just, obviously of course, as I pointed out today, 2 top 10 finish. He's scored in the top 10 twice, a 10th place finish last year in his first race with what was then RPM, now Petty GMS. Got a chance to talk to Eric this week, and that team is just really, really going out there. I mean, Dave Ellens, the crew chief, and just a lot of those 43 guys are really, really good. And by the way, it will be a big thing to see that 43 car in victory lane come Sunday. It would be huge. But I'm not going to go with the 43. I'm sorry. I have many friends who are that one in particular, but I'm gonna go with somebody that I think is gonna be a pretty strong contender. Of course, last year I gotta go with Young Money, Kyle Larson. Of course, he won last year. And that was and by the way, just so you guys know, no one is taking him this week. I'm the only one that's taking him this week, so. It's going to be pretty good. I think that 5 team is going to really carry on throughout the season. But yeah, he got the win last week. think he's going to get it done again. So we'll have to see. But that's but this next gen car is completely unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen with this thing. And also, just about as unpredictable is the standings. The guy on the bottom, Nathan, made a huge climb up this weekend. Now is tied for second with Mitchell. Marty is our now the clubhouse leader in first in there, followed by Loomis has taken fourth. Well, actually, no. Jonathan's in fourth, Loomis in fifth, I'm in sixth, and RJ in seventh. RJ's got a little bit of work to do this coming weekend if he wants to get back into this. But it's a long season, and who knows what's going to happen in these standings. But yeah, tell us who you're going with this weekend in the comments below. And if you like what you see, like and subscribe, and tell your friends about this. It's fun. All right, we will see you next week when we talk about Phoenix. And guess who's going to be in Phoenix next week? The guy to my left. Of course. So yeah, it'll be a fun experience there. But stay tuned. We'll have the post-race show. I'm not sure if he's going to be on here, but we'll talk to you sometime later on.